Before we begin this night prayer, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like this video. It helps us reach more hearts that need peace tonight. I don't need thunder or bright signs. I don't need answers that arrive like lightning or explanations that chase every shadow away. I just need to know I'm not alone in the dark, that's all. I need to feel like someone sees me when no one else is looking. I need to believe that even when the day ends, messy or unfinished or tired, you're still here. That you don't leave when the lights go out. That your presence doesn't vanish just because the world grows quieter. I'm not asking for everything to make sense. I'm just asking for enough peace to exhale, enough calm to stop racing, enough safety to let go. I want this room to become a shelter, not just a space I sleep in. I want the stillness to carry kindness, not coldness. I want to lay down my thoughts like they'll be kept safe for the night, not judged, not silenced, just held. Maybe today was loud, heavy, too full. Maybe it was lonely in ways I didn't have words for. Maybe it drained me in slow ways that crept under my skin and stayed long after I smiled at the world. I carried what I could, and maybe I dropped more than I meant to. But that doesn't make me a failure. That doesn't mean I have to carry guilt into sleep. It just means I'm human, and I'm here, and you are too. And that changes everything. I want to settle into this night like it's allowed to hold me. Not something I have to fight through. Not a storm I must survive. Just a quiet place to breathe. A soft space where I don't have to prove anything. No one is watching now. No one is waiting for a reply. The world has closed its doors, and I don't need to keep mine open out of fear. I can close them and trust that you'll stand near. Not like a guard in armor, not like a force with weapons, but like a steady light that doesn't flicker, like warmth that wraps around all my unease and softens the edges. I want to imagine you sitting quietly at the corner of my room, not doing anything dramatic, just being here, being present enough that I stop reaching, close enough that I stop doubting, gentle enough that I stop shrinking. The truth is, I've built a lot of walls to feel safe. I've made silence my armor and exhaustion my excuse. But none of that really shelters me. It just isolates me. And tonight, I'm tired of that. I want to be covered, not closed off. I want to be known, not just protected. I want to rest in something deeper than silence, something sacred, something soft. I'm asking you to be my shelter, not because I'm weak, but because I'm ready to stop pretending I'm not. Ready to admit that I need care, not just endurance. I've run on fumes. I've patched up the day as best I could. But now I need a different kind of strength. The kind that doesn't ask me to keep going. The kind that gives me permission to pause, to stop fixing, to stop figuring out, to let myself be fragile without fear. Because you don't flinch at that. You don't pull away. You don't shame me for needing to be held. And tonight I do. I need to be held, not by arms that expect anything back, not by promises that require performance, but by the kind of love that simply stays. I don't want to keep scanning my mind for danger. I don't want to keep rehearsing what I should have done differently. I want to rest like there's room for all of me, even the part that's uncertain, the part that's still afraid, the part that doesn't know how to let go completely. I want to believe that you're okay with all of it, that you're not frustrated with my fear or tired of my doubt, that you still choose to be near. And that's the miracle, isn't it? That you don't need me to be okay before you offer peace, that you don't wait for my confidence before you give comfort, that you don't require resolution before you extend rest. You just give it, freely, repeatedly, gently. So tonight, I open the door to that kind of shelter, not the kind that hides me, but the kind that doesn't just offer safety from the world, but safety from my own harsh thoughts. The kind that whispers instead of shouts, that holds space instead of fixing, that makes room for slow breathing and quiet hope. I don't need dramatic rescue. I just need presence. I just need enough peace to rest without resistance. I want this bed to feel like a pause, not a punishment. I want the quiet to feel like softness, not suffocation. I want to wrap myself in the kind of stillness that heals instead of haunts, and I trust you can make that happen, even if nothing else changes, even if tomorrow brings the same uncertainty, even if I wake with the same. Your shelter doesn't promise that the storm ends. It promises I'm not alone inside it. So hold that promise for me tonight. Be the warmth that reaches below the surface of the cold. Be the calm steady enough to meet my panic without flinching. Be the grounded presence that finally gives sleep room to enter. I'm done performing, done pushing past myself. The weight I've carried through this day is ready to dissolve into the quiet of this bed. My thoughts may not vanish, but they can slow now. And that will be enough, because rest doesn't begin with perfection. It begins with permission. Maybe peace doesn't need to be felt first to be received. Maybe it arrives right here, in this moment of soft surrender, when I stop pretending I've solved it all, when I stop fighting to fix what was never mine to carry tonight, when I allow myself to be held. God, I still don't understand how you do it, how you manage to carry what I haven't even named, how you wait through my storms without pulling away, how you offer peace before I think to ask. But somehow you do. And I'm saying yes to that now. Yes to being seen and still safe. Yes to being known and still welcomed. Yes to being comforted without having to explain why I need it. I'm not surrendering out of defeat. I'm finally allowing rest to be real. I'm loosening my grip on the lie that my worth depends on holding everything together, releasing the pressure to prove I've earned peace, releasing the fear that if I fall, no one will catch me, because you will. You already are. You never stop. And with that truth pressed gently into the corners of this night, I can sleep now. Not like someone bracing for impact, but like someone returning to safety, like someone who knows peace was never far, like someone finally coming home. I'm still here, God. The night hasn't changed, and yet something feels different. Maybe it's because I stopped holding my breath. Maybe it's because I remembered you're already in the room. I didn't need to call you loudly. I didn't need to earn your nearness. I only had to notice that you never left. The quiet used to scare me. It still does sometimes, but right now it's starting to feel less like a void and more like an invitation. Like maybe I don't have to fill the silence with noise or movement or worry. Maybe I can just be here, still, covered. Because sometimes the safest thing isn't armor, it's presence. And I know you're here. Tonight, I'm not asking for rescue. I'm not begging for the day to disappear. I'm asking for something softer, something deeper, shelter that seeps under the skin, peace that reaches the parts I keep guarded, comfort that doesn't require me to explain anything first. I don't want to explain tonight. I don't want to retell everything that went wrong or everything I didn't say out loud. I just want to let it rest. I want to set it down like a coat at the door. I want to come inside this night and let it close around me like a blanket, like a safe place, like I don't have to keep looking over my shoulder, like nothing outside this space can reach me for a while, like everything can wait. And if it can't, then give me the grace to believe that I still can. I keep thinking about the word shelter. It's not just a roof. It's not just protection. It's a covering that says, you're welcome here, exactly as you are. A place that doesn't require fixing before entering. A space where breath returns to its natural rhythm And the heart doesn't race just to stay ready. I want that kind of shelter, not one that hides me from life, but one that gives me room to breathe through it. I've had enough of pretending I'm fine. I've had enough of answering I'm okay when I'm not. I'm not looking for a perfect night. I just want a peaceful one. I want a night where I can trust that not everything needs solving right now, that not every pain needs a name, that some nights are made for holding, not healing, not fixing, just gently holding. And if you're holding me, then maybe that's enough. Maybe that's more than enough. I don't need a grand miracle to fall asleep. I don't need the pain to vanish or the questions to evaporate. I just need to know that while the world turns and the stars stretch across the sky, I'm not turning alone. You're here, holding the corners of my thoughts before they unravel, holding the edge of my exhaustion before it spills into fear, holding the heart that's tired of guarding itself. I don't know how to surrender all of that at once, but maybe I don't need to. Maybe I just need to start with this breath, and then the next. And maybe if I let go in pieces, you'll hold each one. Sometimes it's hard to believe that peace doesn't depend on circumstances. I keep waiting for things to settle before I settle. But maybe peace doesn't come after the chaos clears. Maybe it comes in the middle of it. Not like a fix, but like a faithful presence. Not because I've achieved something or finally deserve it, but because you are peace and you are not going anywhere. You're not disappointed in how long it takes me to trust. You're not rolling your eyes at how often I come back to fear. You just stay. You shelter. You wait for me to stop running in circles and remember that I already have a place to rest. So let this be that place. Let this bed be more than a stopping point. Let it be a soft return, a re-entry into something safer than striving, something warmer than worry, something deeper than distraction. Let it be holy ground, not because it's grand or sacred in itself, but because you're here. And if you're here, then nothing is wasted. No sigh, no tear, no shaky breath, no restless toss under the blankets. If you're here, then even my weary silence becomes a kind of prayer. Even my inability to pray the right words becomes welcome. You already understand. You've already seen the whole day. You already know the weight I've carried and the ache I can't name. And still, you offer shelter. Not a shelter that's earned, a shelter that's given. This is where I want to rest, in the middle of what didn't go as planned. Even if the day felt off, even if my words were too few or too many, even if I disappointed someone I care about, even if I disappointed myself, the night doesn't require perfection from me. It only asks that I show up, and maybe that's what you've been asking too. Not polished answers, not a spotless heart, not a well-rehearsed version of faith, just my presence, my quiet yes. The door cracked open enough for you to step inside, not with judgment, not with expectations, but with peace, with comfort, with a calm promise that I don't have to hold myself up anymore. If I could see what your nearness really looks like, I think it would appear as soft light brushing the edges of this room, a presence close enough to feel, but never forcing its way in, a kindness that waits, a voice that never pushes, just stay. Maybe you've been saying it all along, through every moment I've tried to fix or figure out on my own, whispering through it all. I'm here. I haven't moved. Let me be your shelter. You don't have to carry this tonight. And somewhere deeper than thought, my heart is finally answering, I hear you. I'm ready. Yes. Yes to the letting go. Yes to the not knowing. Yes to the release of the weight I can't keep lifting. Yes to the shelter that doesn't look like escape, but looks like presence, looks like stillness, looks like mercy. If that shelter holds space for every version of me, the brave one, the scared one, the tired one, the hopeful one, then I have no reason to resist it. I have every reason to sink into it like it's safe, because it is, because you. And I'm learning to believe that again, even when the world is loud, even when my thoughts try to argue, even when the silence feels unfamiliar. I'm learning to believe that you don't change just because I do. You don't leave just because I falter. You don't stop sheltering just because I forget to ask. I'm not asking for much tonight, just this. Keep the night steady while I drift into sleep. May your presence settle above me like a roof that doesn't leak in the storm. May peace wrap around me like walls that breathe instead of close in. If any anxious thoughts try to fall, let grace rise beneath them like a quiet floor that doesn't give way. Let the air feel full, heavy, not with burden, but with the soft weight of your love. I don't want to force calm into my chest. I want it to come because you're near, because your closeness makes safety feel real. Whatever tightness still clings to the edges of me, help it slowly unbind. Whatever memory still stings, dull its edges until it no longer cuts. And whatever pressure remains, ease it, just enough for my body to release into rest. Just enough for sleep to come like permission. Just enough for me to return to what's always been true. I'm not alone. I never was. And tonight, I no longer have to pretend to be. I'm lying here with my thoughts stretched out beside me. Some louder than others, some curling in on themselves like they're trying to disappear. But none of them feel strong enough to hold me tonight. I've leaned on worry too many nights in a row, and it never cradles me back. It just makes the air colder. So instead of turning toward fear, I want to turn toward you. I want to imagine that you're already near, not because I earned it, but because you're the kind of God who stays, who doesn't ask me to tidy my soul before you come close, who doesn't flinch at the mess of a tired mind. I don't need to pretend to be brave here. I just need to rest. That's what I want, more than anything right now. Rest that doesn't come with guilt. Sleep that doesn't feel like surrendering a fight I was supposed to win. I just want to lay this all down and believe you'll keep it safe. There's a strange kind of silence that comes late at night. The world outside grows still, but inside my chest, something still knocks. Sometimes it's regret. Sometimes it's longing. Sometimes it's just the echo of everything I didn't say during the day. It's tempting to chase those echoes into the night, to try to fix the day in my mind before it slips too far away. But not tonight. Tonight, I want to let the day go, even if it wasn't what I needed it to be, even if it ended too abruptly or left something unresolved, even if I disappointed myself or someone else. I want to believe that a day can close imperfectly and still be held in love, that I can close my eyes, not with answers, but with trust, that rest isn't a reward for performance, it's a gift for the weary, and I am weary. So I bring you all of it, the parts I understand and the parts I don't, the moments I handled well and the ones I wish I could erase. I bring you the longings that ache and the hopes that feel too fragile to say out loud. I bring you the thoughts that keep circling back, even though I've told them they're not welcome. I bring you the body that's tired but tense, the breath that hasn't yet settled, the heart that wants to believe in peace but still reaches for control. I bring it all because you're the only one I trust to hold it, not with conditions, not with judgment, just with care, just with calm, just with that unshakable presence that doesn't ask for anything back. There's a kind of shelter that only exists in silence, the kind that doesn't announce itself but surrounds you anyway, the kind that hums underneath the noise and holds you even when your mind doesn't register it. That's the shelter I ask for tonight, not made of bricks or walls, but of closeness, of nearness. I can't measure, but can somehow feel. I don't need to see you to know you're here. I just need to lean into that, knowing, to let it wrap around me until my thoughts slow down, until the ache inside softens, until the urge to resist finally lets go. I've spent so long trying to be strong. But what if shelter isn't about being strong? What if it's about allowing softness to matter again? I want this bed to feel like a place I can land safely, not another surface asking me to perform or prove. May the quiet wrap around me like warmth, not challenge. When darkness gathers, let it point me back to your presence, not to panic or to everything I didn't fix today. I'm not here to outrun my thoughts anymore. I just need them to know they're not steering the night. You are. And the one in charge is kind, patient, unshakable in ways I still struggle to grasp. When I come undone, you remain whole. When I reach the end of myself, you don't retreat. When I lose track of who I am, you never forget. And through it all, you continue offering peace, not as a rare gift, but as something endless, steady, willing. Even when I've turned away, it's still here. You're still here. So, let it be different tonight. Not because I've done something differently, but because I'm letting you in more fully. I'm not trying to wrestle my way into peace. I'm resting my way toward it. I'm breathing slower, not because everything's resolved, but because you're reminding me I don't have to hold it all. That maybe rest starts not when life quiets down, but when I do. When I stop telling the night how scary it is and start letting it become sacred. Maybe this stillness has something to teach me about surrender, about presence, about the kind of safety that doesn't come from controlling everything, but from trusting someone greater. I want that trust to deepen, even if it's just 1 inch at a time. I want it to anchor me when my thoughts try to drift. I want it to be the blanket I pull up when fear tries to slip in. I want to remember that my shelter isn't something I build. It's someone who builds around me, someone who stands guard, not with weapons, but with love. Someone who covers the fragile places without making me feel fragile. Someone who breathes peace into the cracks. That's who you are. And tonight, I want to let that truth hold me steady. Stay near while my body loosens its grip on the day. Remain close as the knots of tension slowly unwind. Be beside me until the darkness no longer feels unfamiliar, until this night begins to feel like a place I belong. And if I stir in the quiet hours, may I rise into peace, not panic. If anxious dreams find me, meet them with your presence and ease their sharp edges. When my body grows restless, remind me that stillness isn't the only sign of safety. Sometimes it's what follows when safety is finally felt. And if tonight all I manage is lying here with open hands and a worn-out heart, may that be more than enough. Let that silence become devotion. Let that stillness become an invitation. Let that simple being become true rest. You are my shelter, not my last resort, not my backup plan, not the place I run when all else fails. You're the place I belong from the start. You're the covering that never wears thin, the refuge that doesn't close its doors, the presence that doesn't fluctuate with my moods. You are steady, and you are close. And tonight, that is enough. There are places in me I don't even fully understand, corners I avoid, memories I touch too gently, fears I tuck away under thoughts that feel easier to carry. And sometimes when the lights go out and everything else gets quiet, those places grow louder. They stretch out and take up more space than they did during the day. And no matter how soft the pillow or warm the blanket, those echoes push back against peace. That's when I need you most. Not as an answer, not as a fix, but as a shelter. Not the kind that blocks out everything, but the kind that holds me in the middle of it. I don't need the night to vanish. I need a place within it that feels safe. I need something steady to hold on to, not with my hands, but with my soul. I can't always name what aches, but you know anyway. You don't wait for perfect articulation. You don't require clarity before comfort. You don't ask for polished prayers or rehearsed surrender. You just want honesty. And tonight, that's all I have. I'm not trying to impress you with resilience. I'm not here to list every worry in order, hoping you'll address them one by one. I'm just laying them all down in a pile at your feet, tangled, unfiltered, unfinished. I'm asking you to cover what I can't sort, to shelter what I can't fix, to reach into the places I avoid, and simply sit there with me, not to expose them, not to correct me, just to be there, because even if nothing changes, your presence changes everything. There's no part of me you reject, no emotion too messy, no confusion too much. You don't walk away when I unravel. You don't lose patience when my faith feels thin. And tonight, that matters more than anything. It means I don't have to pretend. I don't have to earn rest. I don't have to dress up peace to make it seem spiritual. I can receive it exactly as I am, in the middle of the fear, in the middle of the doubts, in the middle of the silence. I still find hard to sit with. I'm learning to believe that rest isn't the reward for good behavior. It's the provision for weary hearts. It's what you offer when I run out of strength, and There's something holy about surrendering quietly, about choosing stillness when everything in me wants to strive, about saying, I don't know, and letting that be sacred, about whispering, I'm tired, and believing that you won't demand more, that you won't turn away, that you won't shame me for not having more to give. There's shelter in that, not just safety from the outside world, but a deep, soul-level protection from the weight I put on myself. That's the shelter I need tonight, one that doesn't just block out fear, but dismantles the lies that make fear grow, one that doesn't just hide me, but heals me, not all at once, not loudly, just slowly, just kindly, just enough. I don't want to keep treating rest like a performance. I don't want to measure my worth by how well I sleep or how quickly I calm down. I want to receive this night as a gift, not because I feel worthy of it, but because you've already decided I am. And if you've called me worthy of peace, who am I to argue? If you've chosen to stay near, who am I to hide? If you've offered shelter, who am I to sleep outside in the cold of my own thoughts? I want to crawl under the covering you've laid out for me, the one not made of walls or defenses, but of gentleness and presence and truth. Truth like this: I am not alone. I am not forgotten. I am not too much. I am not too broken. I am not a disappointment. I am not a burden. I am seen. I am loved. I am covered. That's what your shelter speaks over me, even when my thoughts try to argue. That's what your nearness reminds me of, even when my past tries to repeat itself. That's what this night can become. Not a space I dread, but a space that sings of quiet belonging. I don't need to fear the dark if you're here. I don't need to fear myself if you're holding me. I don't need to earn breath if you're the one giving it. My breath begins to slow now, not because everything is fixed, but because I'm finally allowing space for peace. Thoughts still come, but they no longer take everything from me. My body begins to settle into the mattress, as if it remembers what safety feels like. The stillness no longer feels threatening. It holds me gently. That tightness in my chest eases, sinking lower, because I trust you'll be there to carry what drops. And if I wake again before morning, I won't treat it like failure. I'll begin again with one quiet inhale, one soft exhale, one more small moment of trust. You can be what I no longer have the strength to be, my place of refuge when I've run out of fight, my calm when my thoughts are tangled, my steady ground when everything in me wants to drift away. Cover me where I can't reach. Guard the places I forget to protect. Hold the layers I've been peeling back too quickly. And if nothing else, just be here. Just stay. Don't fix. Don't rush. Just be. That's all I need tonight. Not answers. Not changes. Just and the quiet truth that this, too, is enough. Sometimes it's the smallest things that make the night feel heavy. A word I replay in my mind, a look that lingers longer than it should, a moment I mishandled, a thought I can't unthink. These fragments gather when the world gets quiet, building themselves into something larger than I want to carry into sleep. I tell myself not to overthink, but my mind rarely listens to reason. It listens to tone, to pressure, to fear, and that's why I need your presence. Not as a solution to chase away every troubling thought, but as the one steady note beneath the noise, a hum of peace that doesn't fight to be heard, but waits to be trusted. Fill this room with peace, God, not only in the air around me, but in the hidden corners of my spirit where unease still lingers. May the walls breathe safety into the space. May the ceiling become a quiet shield above me. May the floor beneath feel like a truth I can rest on without needing to defend it. Even the space between each breath, stretch it just enough for calm to find me there. I'm not reaching for instant transformation tonight. What I long for is a stillness that allows me to return to myself slowly. Grace that comes not as instruction, but like tides, steady, patient, and unforced. I want this room to hold more than my body while I sleep. I want it to hold my spirit too. Pause between striving and surrender. The moment where I stop holding everything too tightly. The moment where rest becomes a form of worship. There's something sacred in the act of laying down without defense. When I stop posturing, stop rehearsing conversations that may never happen, stop clinging to what I can't fix. I feel how tired my body truly is, only when I let it settle without expectation. And yet, rest doesn't come just because I close my eyes. Sometimes it waits for permission. Sometimes it waits for the tension to unravel. Sometimes it waits for me to remember that I was never meant to carry so much alone. That you are always here, ready to bear what I kept dragging behind me. Ready to take the heaviness I didn't know how to name. Ready to give comfort before I could even form the prayer. And this is the prayer. Even if it's slow and unsure, even if it comes out more like a sigh than a sentence, even if it's scattered between the quiet beats of my heart, I'm speaking it anyway. I'm bringing my weariness like an offering, not because I'm strong enough to keep going, but because I've run out of strength and still need to be held. I'm not trying to bargain for rest. I'm not trying to impress you with faith. I'm just trying to be honest enough to let you in. That's all I have tonight. No perfect words. No clear plan for tomorrow. Just the desire to not feel so alone with all of it. That small yes, that opening of the heart, can be enough. It can mark the doorway into real rest. Not the kind that merely delays exhaustion, but the kind that begins to restore what's worn thin. This can become the shelter where I stop battling shadows and finally breathe without fear. I'm not asking you to erase my thoughts. I'm just asking you to stay with me in them. But sit beside the ones that sting. Gently loosen the ones that spiral. Quiet the ones that lie. I want my mind to become a place you're welcome in, not something I constantly try to control. And as for my body, I wanted to remember what safety feels like. Not because everything around me is peaceful, but because something inside me has started to trust again. There's something about the way night slows everything down. And in that slowing, I notice things I ignore during the day. The small griefs, the almost joys, the ache for something more secure. And if I'm not careful, those things pile up like unmet needs. I don't know how to voice, but you already see them. You already hold the ones I've buried. You already understand the ones I haven't admitted to myself. So instead of burying more, I'm asking you to breathe over what's already surfaced. Not to wipe it away, but to hold it until it feels less sharp. until I don't have to protect myself from my own feelings, until I can trust that I'm safe, even with everything unspoken inside me. I want this room to become the quiet I've been reaching for, not a hollow silence, but a calm, thick with presence. When you're near, even the shadows shrink back and the air itself feels lighter, no longer weighed down by my resistance. Darkness doesn't have to be frightening when it's shared. When you fill the space, it holds comfort instead of threat. I don't want to brace against the night like it's something to survive. I want to sink into it the way a child pulls close to a blanket, not out of understanding, but out of trust that someone kind is close. Let that trust carry me now, stronger than doubt, softer than fear, and just enough to settle everything inside me. I keep waiting for peace to come in grand ways. But what if it's been whispering all along? In the way I finally exhale, in the moment I stop scrolling, in the decision to turn off the light and trust that I'll be okay in the dark, in the way I choose to speak gently to myself instead of critically, in the way I let my jaw unclench, in the way I forgive the day instead of replaying it. What if peace isn't something I find, but something I allow? Something you've been holding out all along, just waiting for me to open my hands. I'm opening them now. Not wide, maybe, but enough. Enough for tonight, enough for rest to seep in where anxiety once lived, enough for comfort to take root, even if the soil still feels dry, enough for me to stop apologizing for being tired. You're not asking for more than I have. You never were. You're just offering yourself again, as shelter, as refuge, as the safe place I've needed all along. And I'm saying yes again, as slowly as I need to, as honestly as I can, because this room doesn't need perfection. It just needs presence. It just needs you. Some nights I don't even realize how far I've wandered until I sit in the quiet and feel the ache of distance. Not a distance from people, a distance from myself, a distance from peace, a distance from that soft place where I trust instead of control. It doesn't take much to drift, just a handful of distractions, a few hours of pretending, one or two wounds I don't want to reopen, and before I know it, I've moved so far away from rest that I forget how to return. That's why I need you tonight. Not just to shelter me from the outside world, but to gently call me back, to remind me that I don't have to keep walking alone in circles, just because I forgot how to pause, that I don't have to earn my way back to peace, that I can stop now, I can come home, I can let you hold what I've been trying to outrun. Sometimes the most loving thing you do is let the quiet grow deep enough for me to hear my soul again. And in that depth, I remember I'm not made to carry this all by myself. I was never expected to be unshaken by everything. I was never built to weather every storm without cover. I need shelter not because I'm failing, but because I'm human. And tonight, I need to come back to that simple truth. I'm not held together by effort. I'm held together by grace. I'm covered not by strength, but by love. I'm safe, not because I've locked every door, but because you've placed yourself at the threshold of my fears. So, if I've drifted, bring me back slowly. Don't rush me into resolution. Don't demand that I feel okay all at once. Just remind me, I don't have to keep pretending I'm closer to peace than I actually feel. Just meet me where I am, and walk with me. I don't need clarity tonight. I don't need answers. I need proximity. I need the kind of closeness that doesn't flinch when I cry or freeze when I'm numb. I need the kind of presence that stays, even when I can't say much. And that's you. You've never needed a script to stay near. You've never waited for eloquence. You've just waited for the tiniest opening, the smallest turn of my heart, the quietest yes. And I'm giving that yes, now, not perfectly, but sincerely, not loudly, but completely. Let the stillness tonight be more than absence of noise. Let it be a sacred returning, a way back to myself, a way back to you. I don't want to numb out to fall asleep. I want to feel safe enough to soften. I want to know that even if thoughts linger, they don't have the final word. Even if fear taps on the window, it doesn't get to come in. Even if I wake in the night unsure of what time it is or what tomorrow holds, I'll still be covered. I'll still be safe, because shelter doesn't disappear in the dark. It deepens. It anchors. It wraps itself around the most fragile places and says, you don't have to keep running. That's what I need to hear. Not commands to be better, not pressure to let go faster, not reminders of how far I've come or how far I still have to go. Just this. You're here. And that's enough. You're not asking for fixed thoughts or steady breathing. You're just offering steadiness when I'm not sure how to find it myself. You're becoming the place I return to again and again without shame. You're where I land when the world feels loud and my heart feels brittle. And even though I try to hold on to things that never bring peace, you still offer yourself without resentment. You still call me beloved. You still say, rest. I want that word, rest, to cover everything tonight. To come softly beneath the silence, to echo in the rhythm of my breath, to fill the spaces between my thoughts, not as a distant hope, but as something I'm finally ready to receive. I want to remember how to rest, not as a task to perform or a duty to fulfill, but as something honest and human. I want to be held by this night, not with resistance or shame, but with a quiet yes, with peace. The kind that doesn't demand effort or perfection, only presence. The kind that reminds me I don't need to try so hard to be okay. I already am. And if I wake again before the sun, I don't want to fill the dark with worry. I want to turn back toward you. I want to remember that it's not too late to return. Not too late to find shelter again. Not too late to begin resting, even if sleep feels far away. You're not counting the minutes. You're not disappointed in my tossing and turning. You're just here, waiting without pressure, holding without conditions, loving without limits. And that is the most secure place I could be. So, if I drift, draw me back, not with force, but with kindness, not with fear, but with calm, not with commands, but with your steady nearness. And let that be my peace tonight. I don't always know how to explain what's going on inside me. Some nights, it's not even one clear thing. It's a mixture of half-formed thoughts, low hums of sadness, forgotten aches, delayed reactions, and I try to sort them out like puzzle pieces, hoping if I get them in the right order, peace will follow. But sometimes peace doesn't come from figuring things out. Sometimes it arrives when I stop picking at wounds that need rest to heal, when I stop asking questions that don't need answers tonight, when I stop believing I have to hold myself together just to be safe in the dark, because the truth is, I can't always hold myself together, but maybe I don't have to. Maybe that's where you come in, not to demand more strength, but to offer your own. I've spent a lot of time trying to be strong in the eyes of others, and even when no one's watching, I still carry that weight, the need to be okay, the pressure to move on, the silence that tells me to keep it inside. But here, in this quiet space, where it's just you and me, I'm letting that fall. I don't want to keep performing resilience. I want to feel free to be whatever I am right now. And what I am tonight is tired, not just physically, but soul tired, from the holding back, from the holding in, from the holding on, and I need somewhere to set it down, a place soft enough not to shatter me, a presence kind enough not to push me. That's why I'm here, not because I have perfect faith, not because I've figured out the next step, but because I believe, even if just a little, that you can be a shelter for someone like me, someone who still doubts, someone who still flinches at the silence, someone who wakes up in the middle of the night and forgets how to breathe slow, someone who carries shame that hasn't fully unraveled yet. You see it all and you don't turn away. We draw closer, not to change me in a moment, but to be with me in all my moments, not to fix every fracture, but to stay with me while the healing begins. Tonight, I imagine your presence like arms that never loosen, even when I tremble. A voice that doesn't need to be loud to be understood. A quiet truth that holds me gently, especially when I forget how to hold myself. I'm not asking for a perfect night, just one soft enough to stop the fight. A little more calm, so I can finally stop resisting. A little more quiet, so I don't feel afraid of it. A little more love, so I no longer feel the need to hide. And if you're already here, and something in me knows you are, then this peace isn't something I have to chase. I just have to stop turning away from it. That's harder than it sounds. My instinct is to protect myself, to keep the guard up, to control what I let in. But I don't want to live that way. Not with you. I don't want my relationship with you to be built on fear. I want it to be a shelter I choose. Not because I'm running from the world, but because I trust that you are safe, that you don't use your closeness to pressure me, but to comfort me, that you don't see my cracks and expect me to hide them. You know they're there, and still, you choose to stay, and that's what makes you shelter. Not just a hiding place, but a healing one. Let me rest in that tonight. Let me crawl into the space where I don't have to make myself smaller, where I don't have to explain what I'm feeling, where I don't have to be anything other than human. You already know my story. You know the chapters I skip, the pages I've tried to tear out, the paragraphs I whisper instead of speak. You know the parts of me that struggle to believe in love, that doesn't keep score, and yet you keep showing up with more grace than I expected, more kindness than I thought I deserved, more gentleness than I've ever given myself. Maybe that's what healing looks like. Not a sudden change, but a long, slow exhale. A loosening of the grip, a softening of the heart, a willingness to believe I don't have to be ashamed of the mess, that I can be in the middle of it and still be covered, that I can fall apart a little and still be whole in your eyes, that I can breathe unevenly and still be wrapped in peace. You're not waiting for perfection, you're waiting for permission, and you have it. You have mine, to be my shelter, my covering, my resting place. So here I am, letting the weight slip off my shoulders one thought at a time. I won't try to rush the calm. I won't try to chase peace like it's hiding. I'll stay right here. I'll close my eyes, knowing you are already holding this moment, this breath, this entire room. And even if I feel fragile, I know you're not. You're steady, you're near, and I am safe. Even when I can't hold myself together, I'm learning that rest is not something I force. It's a place I'm welcomed into. When my body finally loosens its grip and my thoughts stop marching, I realize how long I've been standing guard over everything I can't control. I've checked the locks in my mind a dozen times, replayed moments for hidden meaning, measured the distance between who I hoped I'd be and who I was today. It leaves me taut, as if peace will only come once I've proven I've done enough. But that isn't how your shelter works. Your covering isn't the prize at the end of a perfect day. It's the roof over imperfect hearts who dare to enter as they are. So I'm coming in now, not with arguments or explanations, but with a quiet willingness to be cared for. Let this be the room where vigilance is allowed to set down its armor, where the nervous system remembers an older, softer rhythm, where every breath carries more mercy than scrutiny. Not because danger has vanished, but because I am not alone inside the night. Teach me to release what keeps waking me, unfinished conversations, small stings that grew into stories. The worry that if I fall asleep, my guard will drop and something I missed will slip through. I don't want to live like a sentry to my own life. Set a different watch at my door, one that doesn't sharpen fear, but steadies it, one that knows the difference between real danger and an old echo sounding large in the dark. If memory wanders through, help it pass without setting up camp. If regret tries to bargain for attention, let it find no audience. If the mind insists on solving tomorrow, remind it that plans made at midnight rarely carry wisdom, and that morning light has a way of clarifying what night magnifies. I'm not asking to forget. I'm asking to be held in a way that makes remembering less sharp. There are parts of me that expect love to be conditional, that brace for distance once the mess shows. You move in the opposite direction. You come nearer, right where I'm most unsure. You don't demand a cleaner room before you sit down. You begin tidying by presence alone, as if peace itself has hands, as if trust mends what will not yield to force. So start with simple things. Loosen the jaw that is clenched against the day. Uncurl the shoulders that learn to carry more than their share. Slow the heart that confuses speed with safety. Draw a quiet line around this bed and call it enough for tonight. Not a fortress that isolates, but a home that lights its porch for the weary. Let the blankets be more than fabric. Make them a sign that warmth still meets need, that comfort can be honest, that rest is not the same as avoidance. In this light, even silence feels kind. If I stir before dawn, meet me where the mind first reaches for old habits. Greet the reflex to check every window with a steadier reflex to breathe. Greet the impulse to rehearse the worst with a gentler practice of remembering you stay. If dreams carry clutter to the surface, help them dissolve the moment I wake, like mist yielding to a window warmed by morning. And if I sleep straight through, keep watch over what I cannot tend while I'm gone. Stand at the threshold of my worries the way a parent stands in a hallway, present without noise, guarding without spectacle, content to be the reassurance a child never sees, yet somehow trusts. I may not witness the keeping, but I will benefit from it. That is how real shelter works, quiet, constant, and faithful beyond my awareness. I want to belong to peace more than I belong to pressure. I want to be fluent in kindness toward myself, especially when fatigue tempts me to be harsh. Let my inner voice learn a new cadence tonight. Not indulgent, not careless, but humane. The kind that tells the truth without withdrawing love. The kind that can say, enough for now, and mean it. There will be time for apologies, for repairs, for choices made in clearer light. For this hour, what heals me most is not resolution, but reassurance. You are here. I am covered. I can soften. The world will still be turning when I wake, and I will meet it better, because I rested rather than wrestled. Stay with me while the room darkens into a deeper quiet. Be the steady weight that keeps the blanket from shifting, the calm beneath the mattress of my thoughts, the constancy that turns this ordinary space into holy ground. I won't perform calm. I will receive it. I won't police my feelings. I will place them where they cannot fall through. If a tear comes without a tidy reason, let it be a release, not a verdict. If laughter flickers at a memory, let it remind me that wonder survives even long days. If nothing rises at all, and I simply drift, let that be worship too, a trust so simple it looks like sleep. And while I sleep, keep watch over the doorways of fear, over the windows of imagination, over the roofline of my hope. Keep watch until morning, and when morning comes, let the first thing I know be the same thing that carried me through the dark, that I was never unguarded, never abandoned, never outside the circle of your care. Tonight I am at home, and home is wherever you are. Keep watch while I grow quiet. Keep watch until I wake into peace. I don't have the words tonight, not because I'm unwilling, but because I'm worn thin from trying all day to explain things I don't fully understand. I've reached the point where my thoughts have looped so many times, they've turned quiet. Not peaceful quiet, not yet, but the kind of quiet that comes when exhaustion has softened even the urgency of fear. And in this hush, I realize I don't need to say anything profound. Maybe my breathing is enough. Maybe these slow inhales and heavy exhales can be prayer. Maybe they are prayer. Because each breath I let go is a little surrender. Each breath I receive is a small act of trust. And if you're listening, not just to my voice, but to my body, my heart, my quiet, then you already hear what I can't articulate. So I won't force the words. I won't chase language. I'll just breathe with you here, beside me. I'll let the stillness stretch without trying to fill it. I'll let my pulse slow without demanding productivity from the moment. Maybe the holiest thing I can do is rest without resistance. Maybe being held doesn't require explanation. Maybe this bed can be sanctuary and not just a place I land when I have nothing left. Because I want more than survival tonight. I want safety. I want comfort. I want the room to whisper back to me that I'm not alone. And if the air carries your presence, then maybe it's already whispering, and I've just been too tense to hear it. I've built so many habits around protecting myself, staying busy, staying alert, staying in control. But shelter is different. Shelter doesn't ask me to be on guard. Shelter invites me to soften, to trust that something greater than my awareness is watching now, that I can close my eyes and the world will not collapse, that I can stop rehearsing contingency plans and nothing essential will be lost, that I can sleep without apology. I need that reassurance tonight. I need to believe that stillness isn't negligence, that rest isn't irresponsible, that letting go doesn't mean I've abandoned what matters. It means I trust that what matters most isn't mine to carry through the night. So let my breathing be my prayer. Let the rhythm of inhale and exhale tell you what my words cannot. Let the way my shoulders begin to fall tell you I'm ready to be carried. Let the sigh that slips out between breaths be the confession I couldn't say aloud. Let the tension in my spine slowly unravel into something looser, something surrendered. I may not know how to rest fully, but I'm learning, and that too is holy. I think sometimes we forget that you're not waiting on the perfect version of us to draw near, that you're not after polished prayers or tidy hearts. You are drawn to the honest ones, the honest breath, the honest ache, the honest need. And there is nothing more honest than the quiet that follows a day too heavy to name. You meet me here, not because I am impressive, but because I am real. And the realness matters to you more than the performance ever could. So I give you the real, the tired, the tangled, the unsure. I bring it all, not to be fixed, but to be with you in it. Because you are shelter, not escape, not erasure. Shelter that sits beside me and doesn't flinch. Shelter that doesn't shift when I'm shaky. Shelter that doesn't disappear when I stop trying so hard. That's what I need tonight. Not a way out, but a place inside the dark that still feels warm. A place where I don't have to earn space. A place where presence itself is enough. I want to remember that this isn't wasted time. That lying still isn't less faithful than action. That receiving rest isn't less sacred than offering help. I want to stop measuring worth by effort. I want to stop treating peace like something I barter for. I want to simply breathe and know that even this is holy. That even now, with nothing accomplished, I am not behind. I'm not in danger of losing, You're not one sleepless night away from being outside your care. Your shelter has always been here. I just forget to step inside. So here I am now, entering again, not dramatically, not even boldly, just with breath, just with slow surrender, just with this whispered trust. I don't have to know what comes next to rest here tonight. You already know, and you're not anxious. You're not uncertain. You're not rushed. You hold time like you hold me, with patience, with kindness, with unflinching love. May my breathing speak more than words ever could. In this stillness, may I feel safe enough to surrender. I want this room to cradle me like a hidden pocket of peace I never knew I was longing for. And when morning finds me, may it be your presence I remember first, quiet, constant, and still holding me. There's something about the very end of the night, the moment before sleep really settles in, the hush before surrender fully takes hold, that feels fragile and honest in a way nothing else does. I've said what I could say. I've breathed through what I could face. I've let go of more than I thought I'd be able to. And now I'm here, resting on the edge of rest. I'm not waiting for one more sign. I'm not expecting a final wave of revelation. I just want to be wrapped in peace, not because I've earned it, but because you always meant to give it. Not a peace that performs, not a stillness that hides fear underneath, but something steady, something whole, something warm enough to remind me that I'm not just surviving the night, I'm being cared for in it. So wrap this night around me like you truly intend to, not as a pause, but as protection. The dark doesn't have to signal absence. It can become the very fabric of your care. This silence isn't empty when it's filled with invisible love. The blanket that rests on me feels like your presence too, gentle, steady, grounding. I don't want to drift into numbness tonight. I want to fall into awareness, into nearness, into you. No fear at the threshold, no shame in letting go, no pressure to get it right, just the freedom to be here, exactly as I am. Just softness, finally allowed. I'm not asking for anything extraordinary. I don't need visions in the window or dreams that tear open the sky. What I long for is quieter than all that. I long for a stillness that doesn't demand an answer, a hush that doesn't press for last words or clarity, just a presence that stays, one that doesn't try to fix me, only holds space beside me. I want to fall asleep knowing love stayed in the room, that care doesn't dissolve when thoughts fade, that even in unconsciousness, mercy lingers, wrapping each second with tenderness. If I drift, let it be into peace that doesn't vanish by morning. Let the rest I receive tonight not ask for explanations, only willingness. There's something I've come to understand. Through this quiet shelter doesn't always look like something built. Sometimes it's the sigh that finally escapes without pain, the tear that dries on its own, the moment I stop bracing against the silence, the breath that no longer races ahead of me, the holy kind of release that whispers, "You can stop now. No more chasing. No more correcting the past. No more defending yourself against shadows. Let this be that sacred breath. Let this be the part of the night where I lie back unguarded, no performance left, and somehow still held. I don't need to chart a course before I sleep. There's nothing to map tonight. Even my thoughts can rest beside me now, unarmored, unworried, just here finally still. And if there's a part of me that still wants to hold on, just in case, meet it with kindness. Sit beside it long enough for it to unclench. Whisper to it, not commands, but comfort. Show it that you've been trustworthy all along, not because you remove all the hard things, but because you never ask me to face them without you. Let this room be a sanctuary from shame. Let this pillow catch more than my head. Let it hold the parts of me I don't yet understand. the parts that are still healing, still hoping, still holding out for safety. I can feel, not just believe in. And maybe, just maybe, I already am feeling it. Right here. Right. So this won't be just the end of another day. This is a sacred shift. A quiet turning point where love offers a softer kind of closure. It's the moment where I stop needing to prove my worth. The hour where I finally step away from expectations that never really knew who I was. This night isn't a break, it's a return. A homecoming to something deeper, something truer. If I've learned anything while walking through this darkness, it's that peace doesn't arrive like payment for effort. It comes like breath, like a covering that was always meant to surround me, not earned, not borrowed, just mine. Because you're mine. Stay with me while I sleep. I don't ask you to guard me from pain or dreams or even the weight of the world. Just one thing, protect me from the lie that I'm alone. That's the shadow I most need refuge from tonight, because the truth that steadies everything is this. You're still here. You were here before the night began. You'll be here when it ends. And in this stillness, that presence wraps tighter than any fear. May that be the thought that stays with me, even as the world slips out of focus. If I fall into dreams, let them carry peace. If sleep goes deep and dreamless, let it be rest that reaches further than muscles and bones. Not just physical ease, but healing. A quiet repair I don't need to see to believe in. This is more than sleep. This is shelter, and I'm inside it now. You are my shelter, not just in theory, not just in metaphor, but right now, in this air, in this stillness, in this exact second, as my breath slows and my heart remembers that it doesn't have to keep guarding the door. You're already standing there, watching, protecting, staying. You've turned this night into holy ground, not because of what I've done, but because of who you are. And if I forget that by morning, remind me again. Keep reminding me every night, every breath, every silence, until I stop bracing, until I stop doubting, until peace feels less like a gift I borrow and more like a name I carry. Thank you for this shelter, for not making me sleep outside the boundaries of grace, for not closing the door when I was late to surrender, for not requiring words when all I had was breath. Thank you for staying when the light goes out, for loving me in the dark, for calling this quiet safe, for making this night enough. And now, into the quiet I go, covered, calmed, carried. I tried to leave the heaviness outside the room tonight. I told myself to lay it down, to not carry it any further, to stop bringing it with me into quiet spaces. But here it is, not loud, not wild, just present, settled in the corners of the room like it belongs here, like it's followed me too many nights to be surprised. It came along again. I don't know why some thoughts have sharp edges and others don't. I don't know why some worries keep returning like old stories I never finished reading. But I'm learning not to shame myself for them anymore. I'm learning that even when the weight follows me into the dark, it doesn't mean I'm failing. It just means I'm still learning how to rest. And I think you know that. I think you understand that my first instinct has always been to brace, to stay alert, to prepare for what might go wrong, because for so long, safety felt like something I had to earn. But you've never asked me to perform peace. You've never required perfection before. Presence. You just offer yourself again and again, and tonight, I need that more than anything. Not a quick fix for my tired mind. Not a clean ending to a messy day. Just you. Now, just the quiet reassurance that I don't have to do anything spectacular to be safe. I can simply be here, in this bed, with this breath, with this unfinished feeling, and still be covered. It's strange how the body remembers stress even when the day is over. How muscles hold on longer than thoughts. how shoulders stay high, jaws stay tight, hands stay curled as if they're still carrying something. But if I stay in this moment long enough, maybe something will soften. Maybe it already is. Maybe every exhale is doing more than I realize. Maybe with every breath, I'm handing over pieces of what I thought I had to handle alone. Maybe the mattress knows how to hold me even before I know how to let go. So I'll stop rushing this. I'll stop pressuring the night to give me immediate relief. I'll stop telling my heart it has to get it all together before I close my eyes. Instead, I'll lie here honestly. Maybe I don't feel peaceful yet, but I'm not resisting peace either. That's new. That's something. I'm not pushing against the silence. I'm not running from what I feel. I'm just here, breathing slower, feeling the weight shift, letting the blanket do its job, letting you do yours. If I wake again later, if the weight stirs and asks for attention, I'll meet it with kindness. I won't argue with it, or fight it, or let it win. I'll just acknowledge it, remind it we're not alone, and breathe again. I'll return to this moment, this softness, this bed that has already heard my prayers in silence. I don't have to make the pain disappear before I rest. I only have to believe that even here, even now, I'm not alone with it. And tonight, that's enough. The weight might not leave me completely, but I don't have to carry it alone. But truth is a shelter too. There are rooms inside me I rarely enter, quiet corridors where old stories keep their breath shallow and the light comes in thin. I've learned to live around them, to decorate the visible spaces and leave the doors closed on anything unresolved. Tonight I'm tired of walking past what still hurts. Not to rip it open again, not to prove I'm brave, but to bring the ache into a place where it can be held without hurry. You already know these rooms. You were there when the first cracks formed, when I taught myself to keep smiling, when I packed certain feelings into boxes labeled later. If you are here now, then later can become now, and alone can become accompanied, and a body that's been bracing for years can learn the softer posture of being met, not managed. Some pains don't shout, they keep time like a low drum under every conversation. They show up as tension in the jaw, a flinch at a familiar tone, the impulse to over-explain or disappear. I notice them most in the quiet. How quickly I rush to distract, how easily I believe the old narratives that say love is earned and safety must be negotiated. You don't bargain with me. You keep company. You sit where I avoid sitting. You bring a light that doesn't interrogate, only clarifies. Where I would prescribe steps, you begin with presence. Where I would ask for results, you suggest rest. Where I would edit my own feelings, you invite the unedited version to speak. So I name what I can. The memory that still stings even though it happened years ago. The conversation I replay because I wish I had said something different. The grief with no clean edges and no fixed timeline. The disappointment that doesn't cancel gratitude but still deserves a place at the table. I place these on the bed like small objects collected in a palm. Nothing dramatic, just true. And as I look at them without rushing, something in me loosens. Not because the past has been rewritten, but because I'm no longer standing there alone. Companionship changes pain. It doesn't always shrink it, but it gives it context, gives it oxygen, keeps it from hardening into shame. Comfort arrives quietly. Shoulders lower a fraction. The breath that used to snag on old thorns begins to pass through. I notice how many of my reflexes are really protections. Overthinking to outrun regret, perfection to avoid rejection, silence to stay safe. They served me once. They don't serve me now. You aren't asking me to throw them away at once. You're teaching an alternative rhythm. Notice, name, and then nestle into care. Not the kind of care that excuses harm or denies truth, but the kind that lets the nervous system learn a better ending to the same old story. The ending where love stays. The ending where presence doesn't punish need. The ending where I am allowed to be weak without that word becoming a verdict. If tears come, they can come as water does, finding a path and softening hard ground on the way. If no tears arrive, that is holy too. Not every healing is visible. I do not have to demonstrate progress to be permitted peace. I can hold gratitude in one hand and ache in the other, and both can belong in your presence. I can fall short and still be welcomed. I can be uncertain and still be guided. I can be quiet and still be heard. I don't need to fix the room for you to enter. Your arrival is what makes the room livable. Tonight I practice a different kind of courage, the kind that doesn't conquer but communes. I stay long enough for the ache to feel seen. I breathe long enough for the body to believe the message my mouth keeps saying. It's safe to rest. I let warmth travel into the places that froze, not forcing them to thaw, just letting time and kindness do their patient work. The future can be met tomorrow. The list can wait. This hour belongs to mending, to the slow repair that happens when a soul stops performing and chooses to be held. If I wake in the dark, the room will still be a room. My life will still be my life, and you will still be here. That is how I measure progress now. Not by how little I feel, but by how often I remember I'm not feeling it alone. The ache is not an exile, it is a doorway. I step through with you beside me, and the floor holds. The story continues, gentler than before. The night grows kinder, and somewhere between inhale and exhale, the rooms I avoid begin to feel like part of home. Some fears don't arrive with faces or reasons. They settle like a film over the skin, present, hard to point at, stubborn in their quietness. During the day they hide behind duty and noise. At night they walk the hallways of my mind as if they own the place. I try to interrogate them, but questions only give them chairs to sit on. So I shift the posture tonight. No cross-examination, no bargains, no dramatic speeches. I choose presence over performance. I choose the nearness of your heart over the neatness of my explanations. If I cannot name the tremor, I can still name you as the one who stays. If I cannot describe the ache, I can still lean into a love that understands before I speak. There is a way. Anxiety trains the body to be ready for impact. Shoulders raised, breath shallow, chest tight, as if bracing could prevent what never arrives. I feel it even now, the old reflex to prepare, to run through contingencies, to outrun what might hurt. And yet this bed is not a runway, it is a harbor. The mattress takes the shape of me without asking for proof that I deserve rest. The blanket does not evaluate the day before covering what shakes. Your presence has always worked like that. Quiet, welcoming, unthreatened by the noise behind my ribs. I picture you sitting where the shadow tries to stand tallest, not to erase it with a shout, but to make it smaller by being near. Fear loses volume beside a love that refuses to leave. I bring you what I can. Fragments of scenes, half memories, the echo of old rooms and old voices. I set them between us like objects on a table. Some are sharp, some are strangely dull. None of them surprise you. You do not recoil or rush. You attend. You notice the way my jaw holds on, the way my thoughts sprint, the way I apologize for existing whenever I grow quiet. And then you do what I forget is possible. You slow the pace without shaming it. You breathe without demanding. I keep up. You draw my mind back into my body back onto this bed, my heart back into the truth that safety can be learned again. I believed for so long that courage meant the absence of shaking. Tonight I revise the definition. Courage looks like a hand that loosens even while it trembles. It sounds like a prayer that doesn't try to fix its own grammar. It feels like allowing warmth to find the cold corners without forcing them to thaw on command. If this is all I can offer, an honest presence, an unguarded breath, a willingness to be comforted, then I am not failing. I am finally telling the truth. And truth is the doorway peace uses when it comes home late and doesn't want to wake the house. Your care is not fragile. It does not splinter under questions. It doesn't back away when I can't stop the spinning. You sit through the spin with me, the way a steady friend sits beside a carousel and waits for it to slow. You don't pull me off by force. You speak to the center, and the center hears. The room is the same, but it feels different. Edges soften, sounds hush, time widens. I realize I am not being asked to win against fear. I am being invited to be accompanied through it. Companionship is not a small thing. It is the difference between drowning and learning how to float with tired arms. So I practice the simplest rhythm. Notice, name, breathe, belong. I notice the tightness without judging it. I name the presence of love without needing proof. I breathe in a way that tells my body the danger is not here, not now. And I belong to the bed that holds me, to the night that does not accuse, to the God who is not counting my stumbles. The mind will still try for another loop. It has been trained that way. When it does, I will not call it failure. I will return, and in the returning, I will grow fluent in quiet. I will learn a language where safety is not a reward for perfect behavior, but a gift given to tired hearts who finally stop running. If the dark stirs mid-sleep and my eyes open to a room I cannot immediately recognize, I will remember that home is not only a place, it is a presence. My pulse can slow without explanations. My thoughts can remain unproven and still be held. My history can stay imperfect and still be loved. The unnamed fear can remain unnamed and still be met with mercy that knows what it is. I release the job of understanding everything before I am allowed to rest. Understanding will have its day. Tonight belongs to trust. And so I lie here, a little less armored than before, choosing gentleness over vigilance, choosing to be kept instead of keeping watch alone. The shadows are still on the walls, but they no longer stand in the doorway. They keep their distance because you have taken the closer chair. I am not asking for a new story by morning. I am asking for a truer way to inhabit the one I have. With every breath, the lesson settles deeper. Fear is loud, but love is weighty, and weight quiets a room. I fall toward that weight now, into the center where you wait without hurry, and the night finally starts to feel like a place I can stay. Some nights, it's not the future I'm afraid of. It's the echoes of what already happened. Conversation that turned cold. A silence that lasted too long. A moment I keep seeing even when my eyes are closed. I try to convince myself it's over, that the past can't touch me now, but my body doesn't always believe what my mind says. It remembers tones, pauses, the way something felt even when the words were harmless. And when everything goes still, those echoes get louder, as if waiting for the quiet to claim their space. I can't mute them by force, but I can invite you into the places they repeat. You don't flinch when I bring up old things. You don't say, shouldn't that be healed by now? You don't try to rush me past the sting. Instead, you settle into the space beside it. You trace the echo back to the first impact, and you place peace right there at the root, not the surface. I've tried covering it with logic. I've tried reasoning it away. But nothing has quieted the memory like the sound of your kindness saying, even that, even then, even there, I was still with you. There's a strange ache that comes from holding on to something I wish had gone differently. It's not always regret. Sometimes it's just absence. The absence of closure, the absence of repair, the absence of the person I thought would still be here. And I carry that with me into nights like this, expecting it to stay quiet because the day has ended. But grief doesn't keep time like that. Sometimes it wakes with me. Sometimes it lies beside me. Sometimes it wears my own voice. And when it does, I need to know that even if I can't hush it, you won't leave me alone with it. You are not put off by repetition. You don't roll your eyes at the feelings that return. You don't measure my progress by how many times the ache revisits. Or you meet me every time as if it's the first, fully, softly, without correction. I don't need to solve it tonight. I don't need to reframe the story. I only need to rest without resenting myself for remembering. That alone feels like healing. To remember without judgment, to ache without being wrong for it, to feel deeply without fearing that you're growing impatient. If the echo grows loud again before the morning, I know you'll still be here. I know I won't have to start from scratch. You've seen this version of me before, the one who holds herself still at the edge of sleep because something inside won't release. And still, you stay. You don't ask me to speed up. You don't ask me to be better. You wait with me in the rhythm of each breath until trust makes its quiet return. So I stop fighting the echo. I let it pass through. I stop arguing with memory. I stop rehearsing my defense. I stop rewriting the moment in hopes it will land differently. It happened. I hurt. And that's what matters now. Not how I could have changed it, but how I am changed by knowing I wasn't abandoned in it. That's the kind of healing that reaches deeper than words. The kind that doesn't need a clean ending, just an honest presence. And when my breath slows again, when the echoes dim and the room feels gentle, I'll know peace didn't come from forgetting. It came from not being alone with the remembering. It came because you didn't ask me to silence the ache, to be worthy of comfort. It came because even in the messy middle of all that still lingers, you leaned in and stayed. Tonight, that's all I need. Not silence without pain, but love that holds me inside it. Not perfection in how I process, but permission to feel without fear. Not the absence of echo, but the presence of you. There's a kind of tired that doesn't ask for sleep. It asks for permission. Permission to loosen, to stop evaluating, to not brace for the next thing. My body feels it tonight, even if I can't quite name what made me this weary. It's the tired that sinks in beneath the surface, the kind that doesn't go away with a nap or a deep breath. It's the kind that settles into the spaces where I've held too much for too long. I want to rest, but something in me still stands guard, still watches the door, still thinks safety must be earned before softness is allowed. And I know that's not true, not in your presence, but old patterns don't unlearn themselves easily. So I come into this night the way I am, not wide open, but willing, not fearless, but ready to try. I don't need rest to feel magical or transformative. I just need it to meet me honestly, to let me be here with what is, not with what should be. I'm not here to prove I've grown. I'm not here to show off how well I can handle it all. I'm here because I've reached the end of holding it together, and that ending, strangely, is a beginning too. The moment I stop pretending I'm fine is the moment I become open to being comforted. And I know you don't need me to feel better before I'm allowed to receive care. I know you aren't pacing the floor, waiting for me to calm down so you can finally come near. You're already here. You've already drawn close. You've already made space for every piece of me that doesn't know how to let go yet. That's what makes this night holy, not because everything is perfect, but because I don't have to earn its gentleness. The quiet itself is grace. The air in this room doesn't judge me. The darkness doesn't ask questions. It just holds me quietly as if it knew I'd come here needing softness more than solutions. There's still a part of me that thinks I should be doing something to deserve this moment, that rest should be reserved for the accomplished, the certain, the emotionally composed. But you keep reminding me that's not how you work. You bless before the breakthrough. You comfort before the clarity. You cover before the change. And here I am, unfinished, uncertain, unraveling in places I thought were secure, and still you stay. Still you speak peace over me. Still you whisper that I'm safe, even while I'm learning how to believe it. Maybe I don't need to feel restful to be receiving rest. Maybe it begins before I realize it. In the slowing breath, in the loosening hands, in the absence of urgency. Maybe it starts when I stop trying to deserve it and just show up, heart open just enough to be seen. If that's what tonight is, a place I can stop resisting, stop explaining, stop fixing, then that's more than enough. That's holy ground, and I can lie down on it with everything I carry without needing to unload it all first. If rest finds me before sleep does, I'll receive it without question. If sleep doesn't come right away, I won't call the night a waste. Peace doesn't always arrive in silence. Sometimes it arrives in presence, quiet, gentle, steady, like breath that doesn't need to be deep to be sacred, like stillness that holds space for whatever rises, like love that doesn't require anything in return. That's the kind of shelter I long for, and I think that's exactly the kind you've already prepared. So I'm laying it all down now, not because it's resolved, but because I finally believe it doesn't have to be. I don't have to carry the end of every story into this night. I don't have to hold every fear, solve every detail, manage every memory. I can give it back to you, piece by piece, with no rush. I can whisper, I don't know, and still be met with peace. I can stop performing calm and actually begin to feel calm. Even if I don't notice the exact moment sleep finds me, I'll know I entered it without pretending. I'll know I walked in honestly, with hands open and heart real. I'll know you stayed, that you didn't wait for silence to love me, that you didn't wait for certainty to cover me, that you didn't wait for perfection to protect me. You were here all along, offering rest to someone still learning how to say yes to it. And tonight, I'm saying yes, quietly, gently, but fully. Yes to rest. I don't know how to receive, but am learning to trust. Yes to safety that doesn't depend on me. Yes to a love that never leaves.